Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about what flowers I'm growing this year in my garden, and in particular what flowers I plan to grow from seed. The reason that I'm opting to grow flower from seeds is because it is more economical. It is more cost effective to do that because you spend maybe $3, $4, $5 on a pack of seeds and you have enough for 20, 25, 50 plants, sometimes 100 plants, depending on how many seeds you get. And with that cost effectiveness, it's easier to put a lot of color into the garden without spending a lot. Also, I have a lot of garden space, and as I'm trying to see color wherever I look, that's harder to do now, especially with the cost of plants. I'm growing a lot more than I'm going to be sharing in this video today because I sometimes will be growing 4 or 5 different varieties of the same type of seed. So I'll just share 1, sometimes 2 with you. Additionally, there has to be an element of surprise. If I show you everything now, what's there to see when summer and spring gets here? So I am definitely not going to show you all that I hope to grow. The reason that I'm hoping to grow more from seed this year is one of cost. Everything has gone up, and this is one way that I can still continue to garden at the level that I want to garden without spending as much money. I'm looking to go back to work currently, but I have been out of work for over a year because of my husband's situation. And so helping our budget, I decided to do more seed starting. Now, in the past, I never had a budget for the garden. I just knew that as I worked, whatever my discretionary income was, that's what I would spend in the garden. So if I went somewhere and saw something, I would just get it. That's not the case this year. But that being said, that doesn't mean that my garden will be less than stellar. It just means that I'd have to put a little bit more work into doing it. So let's get started. I've tried to arrange these in an alphabetical order, but if they're not in alphabetical order, please forgive me. I literally have things from A to Z, and you will see. So the first plant that I'm going to be growing are China asters. You will also notice that a lot of my plants come from botanical interest, and the reason being is I love their seeds. I have excellent germination rates with them. I've never planted something and it didn't grow. And so as a result, I'm kind of dedicated to them. But I also have seeds from Baker Creek. I have seeds from Floret. I have seeds from the grocery store. I have seeds from Amazon. I have seeds from friends from Instagram. So it's not to say that I am a purist. I only shop in one place. No. This is my favorite of all. I'm actually in the process of signing up to be an affiliate in their seed program because I buy so much of their seeds and I believe so strongly in their seeds that that is one of the things that I will stand behind 100%. So now, China aster is considered a half hardy annual, which means it has to be planted out after all danger of frost has passed. So this will be planted out once our last frost date, which is like April 15th here in my zone. So that's the first one. You can see it's a variety pack, which I love. Love the different options for color. Another thing that I'm growing is African daisy. It is also an annual. And it is also recommended to plant out 1 to 2 weeks before my average frost date. Another plant that I'm looking forward to growing this year is the Black-Eyed Susan vine. Black-Eyed Susan vine, and I love those colors. This was sent to me as a gift from my YouTube and Instagram buddy, Stephanie, over at Hooked and Rooted. So Steph, I'm looking forward to growing this year on the different obelisks in my front border so I can get some color. Now, I am hoping to get some delphiniums as well. I consider myself a cottage gardener. And delphiniums, foxgloves, and larkspurs are hallmarks of a cottage garden. And although I have some foxgloves, a lot of the self-sown ones died in this deep winter freeze that we had. So I'm hoping to replace them with some foxgloves that bloom this year. And we'll get to foxgloves in a second. But I'm growing the magic fountains and the Pacific giant delphiniums. Now these I got from Swallowtail Seeds, and they don't have any pictures showing you what it's gonna look like. You can look it up on their website. Now, so that I don't get into trouble with copyright infringement, I won't post a picture of some of these seeds, but the ones that have pictures on the seed packets, I'll show you what those will look like. But yes, so delphiniums. I'm also growing bells of Ireland. Isn't that beautiful? There are very few colors, very few flowers that are this deep green color. It is an annual, but it does reseed. And so typically once you plant it, you should have it. It is best sown in the winter in my zone, but you can also sow it in the spring. I'm also growing some echinacea purpurea. So the classic purple echinacea, our pollinators love them. These are perennials in my garden. And you can sow these directly outside 2 to 4 weeks before your average last frost. And I also have some echinacea seeds from my friend Steph at Hooked and Rooted again. These are the green twister echinacea. And if you've not seen them, she has them in a couple of her YouTube videos when she does a tour in the summer. They are beautiful. They're literally green. Echinacea. And the reason I'm adding these are for the butterflies, the hummingbirds, and the finches in the fall love to eat the bloom stems, these little seed heads. So definitely growing for my little feathered friends and for the butterflies. Now let's talk about foxgloves. Y'all, I'm growing foxgloves. I think I went a little foxglove crazy, and this is not all the foxgloves that I have, but I'm just going to be talking about a couple of varieties. Now foxgloves are biennial plants, which means that the first year all you get are foliage. The second year you get blooms, and those blooms will have seeds, and they'll self-seed and bloom for you year after year after year once it does that. So what I am hoping to do is to plant some of the varieties that bloom the first year, as well as some of the varieties that are second year bloomers, so that I can then continuously have foxgloves in my garden. So let's talk about that. Now, the foxgloves that are the first year bloomers are the ones that are the Camelot series. So I'm doing white, Camelot cream. I'm doing the Dalmatian peach and a couple of others. Now, this particular one I also got from Botanical Interest. These are biennials, and so if I plant these this year, I'm not going to get any blooms. But I also planted another variety from Botanical Interest that I have in my garden, and I'll insert some video or a photograph here to show you what those look like last year. They were stunning. They were almost as tall as me, and I'm 5'7". They reached me, I think, here when they were done blooming, and they are fantastic. I do have a few of those that are going to bloom this year, but like I said, Winter Storm Elliott killed a lot of the little babies that I had, so I won't have quite the show. I'm looking to add these. Look at these beautiful colors, and then in future years be able to have these for bouquets. Those are called the Gloxiniflora blend. There we go. And then I also have some Dalmatian peach seeds from my friend Steph at Hooked and Rooted. Another thing that I'm hoping to grow this year is flax. I love red. My favorite colors are orange, number one, and red. And then any shades of that. So you'll see me wear those colors a lot. And obviously those are in my garden. Grow what you love and grow what speaks to your heart. I like to be able to look at my garden and it be a representation of me. So you're going to see a lot of reds and oranges, even in my books and my notebook choices. That's what makes me happy. When you look at your garden, you should smile. Don't grow anything that's just there because it's what's popular. Grow it because you really want it and you love it. So anyway, we're growing phlox. Phlox is an annual. So, you know, a lot of the plants that give you a lot of color are annuals. And so you just grow those because you know you're going to get lots of colors. Now, another plant that I'm planting a lot of this year is Gomphrena or globe amaranth. That's another name. Now, what I did do is I ordered some raspberry cream as well as some orange Gomphrena from Amazon. And I got 50 seeds, and they say that you can harvest them within 100 days. So I'm looking forward to growing these. The one thing I love about Gomphrena, which I've grown not last year or the year before that, is that it's non-stop blooms and they bloom until our deep freeze. Now I also have a sunset mix from Floret, as well as the atomic purple from my friend Steph, and this mix from Baker Creek Seeds. Now I love Baker Creek as well. They do also have high germination rates, and they do have some rare seeds. That's the name for their company, is Rare Seeds or Baker Creek. And they do have some rare varieties that you can't find elsewhere, or unique things to grow. So I'm looking forward to growing those. Another form of amaranth that I'm looking forward to growing this year is this coral fountain amaranth. I'm also growing a yellow amaranth, and can't wait to see what that looks like. It has green leaves and the tops are yellow. It doesn't have that flowing aspect as the Love Lies Bleeding or the dreadlocks or some of the others, but it's interesting to see. I'm also growing for the first time this year purple alyssum. I love this royal carpet is what it's called, alyssum. It's an annual. Blooms 50 to 60 days once it's planted out, and it's good in full sun to part shade. I can't wait. I'm going to grow this for my flower beds in the garden, in the vegetable garden, as well as a pop of color certain places. So alyssum. I also have the typical white alyssum, which I'm also going to grow. I'm also adding some bachelor's button. I'm doing both Black Boy and Black Magic. So the Black Magic is from Botanical Interest and the Black Boy is from Baker Creek Seeds, and I'm looking to add those. These are pretty in arrangements, so that's what that's for. Something that I've never grown, but I'm looking forward to growing, is the castor bean plant. The reason I want to grow this is because of the foliage, as well as these bean heads. Aren't they beautiful? When you have a garden that's mostly green, it doesn't pop as well as when you put a contrasting color. So something like a sunshine ligustrum, where the leaves are a vibrant chartreusey yellow, or Royal Splendor, Mahogany Splendor hibiscus, where the leaves are burgundy. It contrasts with all that green and it pops. And so that's what I'm hoping to get with this castor bean plant. Another plant that I'm going to be planting a lot of is Celosa. I love Celosa. I have peach one that I'm hoping to grow. I have a terracotta one that I'm hoping to grow. This is from the Southern Gardener, who's also a friend of mine on Instagram, as well as my friend Edie from Decorating the Garden. She sent these purple tassels for me, and I can't wait to grow those as well. I also have some other shades. If I'm not mistaken, I think I have a Asian garden variety, a flamingo feather variety, so different varieties that I plan to grow. This was shared with me by my friend Laura from How Is It Growing, New Jersey. She sent me this corkscrew vine seeds, and I want to try growing it this year. Last year, I didn't have time. The year before, I didn't have time. But this is the year, Laura. It's going out. So I'm hoping to grow these. You should look this up. It's also called the snail vine plant. You should look it up. It is the cutest thing. The seeds, the blooms look like little corkscrew or little snails. It's quite interesting. I'm also going to be growing hyssop. This is for the butterflies again. This is a perennial, and it likes full sun to part shade, and it has a minty anise type fragrance, and butterflies love it, and it's valuable to our native bees. So definitely always growing for my pollinators. Another item that I'm going to be growing a few different varieties of are cosmos. Now, I'm going to be growing the apricota series from Botanical Interest, as well as apricot lemonade from Baker Creek, apricot lemonade from Floret, bright lights, and the rainbow. And I believe there's a couple more varieties that I'll be trying. I just like to have that wispy look, and then being able to cut those and include those in bouquets. Now, Celosa, remember I just mentioned it? Here's a pink champagne from Floret, as well as the rainbow sherbet mix. I knew that I'd seen that. So I will warn you that with Celosa, because they produced 100 of tiny little seeds, once you plant them, you're kind of stuck with them, especially if you let them go to seed. They self-seed. They are not invasive though. They're easy to pull, and you can distribute them elsewhere in your garden. I like them. I like the contrast that they give. I grew one last year. Last year, I added nothing to the garden except what I had purchased the previous year. So I bought a lot of bulbs, and I bought had ordered some roses and paid for those ahead of time. But nothing else did I buy last year. And I had grown amaranth the year before. They came back up. I dug them out of where they were, and I distributed them along the front border and in the front of the house. Y'all, that thing made my garden sing all summer long. You'd have thought I planted 1,000,001 flowers, but I didn't. Because of the perennials that were in place, as well as the addition of that particular annual, I ended up having, I think, a good showing in the garden, despite not having a lot of other things. So the key is choosing the right annual to plant, and, work with what grows in your yard. Another thing I want to give a try are these little drumstick flowers. Wouldn't that be cute in a bouquet? I just love the little pom-poms that they have. So looking forward to this. This is also a tender perennial. I think it would do well in our southern region because we tend to have mild winters. Blackberry lilies. Don't ask me why they're called blackberry lilies when they don't look like blackberries. I will say that one of my followers on Instagram sent me a couple roots of these and I planted them. Y'all, they're so cute. The bloom is exactly like this. I'll insert video footage here because I took some footage last year and I'll show you what they look like. And then when they're done, it curls up into the cutest little corkscrew. You've just got to see it. Really cute. Of course, it's in my favorite orange and it's got freckles. What's not to love? You know, I really, really like it. It takes 14 to 60 days to germinate and should be sown out before your last frost date. So 2 to 4 weeks before the last frost date. So love it. Another thing that I'm adding this year that I've never grown is Love in a Mist. I'm growing both the chocolate and cream and the Miss Jekyll blend, both from Botanical Interest. Aren't those beautiful? There are not a lot of blue flowers out there, so I like to add them because they pair well with so many different things. Another thing that I'm wanting to try this year is lupin. I saw Cloud Dalby have these in his garden, and ever since I was on a mission to try to grow these. I'm looking for the coral colored, peachy colored series of seeds. I don't know where I can find those, but I'll probably find them and plant them next year, but I'm giving these a try. This is an annual, excuse me, and there's a perennial variety that I'm also planting. So I'm going to be doing this Cracker Jack blend. There's a Kilimanjaro one that I'm growing as well, which is this white marigold from my friend Steph at Hooked and Rooted. And just the common marigold, I'll be planting that with a lot of things in the vegetable garden. So I'm going to be adding it, the white ones, the Kilimanjaro ones, I'm going to be adding to the flower beds, but the regular old-fashioned marigold will be adding to the vegetable garden as a companion plant. Another plant that I'm adding for my pollinator, this friend, or seeds that I'm growing, are milkweed. And the reason being is, you know, our butterflies, our monarchs are in danger. And milkweed is the food for monarch butterflies. Last year, I didn't have any monarch butterflies because, as I stated, I didn't plant anything new in the garden. But this is going to be the year for the monarchs to return to my garden because I will have all the food for them. I have the milkweed blend from Botanical Interest, and these are perennials. These will come back year after year in the garden. I currently have this milkweed already in the garden in several areas, but I'm looking to add more. This is common milkweed. Looking to add more of this as well. This is the rose milkweed as well as showy milkweed. So my butterflies will be able to, what's the word I'm looking for? They'll be able to pick and choose what it is they want. New to me plant this year, influenced by Erin the Impatient Gardener, is Nicotiana. Now this one is Peach Screamer. I also have one that's a lime green. I'm going to try them. I've never grown them. I do like the habitat that they have. I also hear that they also self-seed, which not aggressively, but they do self-seed. So I'm looking forward to having this in the garden for a while. This one is from Florette. Next is Penstemon. Now I have Miss Midnight Masquerade. I have Magic something another penstemon in the garden currently, and I love it. I love the tall bloom stalks. I love the bell-shaped flowers, and so do the hummingbirds. So I thought, why not add some more penstemon in the garden? These are perennials. Is that not gorgeous? Love, love, love the colors of these. So This is a dwarf blend, so it's not going to get as high as the others. And it has rose, pink, and blue. And they make good cut flowers. Another plant that I have in my garden already, but just looking to add more of, is phlox. Phlox is a perennial in my garden, and I love it. The hummingbirds love it, the butterflies love it, the bees love it. So adding more, again, from botanical interest, because you know, your girl loves me some botanical interest. I also have some phlox paniculata bees bouquet that I ordered from Park Seed. I like to shop Park Seed for unique seeds and varieties that are not readily available. I love this. If you want, you can take a look at it. It's beautiful. Now, another thing that I'm adding 3 new varieties of black-eyed Susan to my garden. I have the typical yellow with the black center or eye, and they've done well for me, and they have, you know, spread themselves around the garden, which I don't mind. But I wanted some more color in the garden in the late summer, fall, besides just that traditional black-eyed Susan. So I'm adding this one. It's called Cherokee Sunset. Is that not gorgeous? I'm also adding from Park Seed Prairie Sun, which is a yellow, but it's like a creamy yellow with a yellow center. I know, that's different, right? It's not the typical black eye. And then I'm also adding Cherry Brandy, which is a red rudbeckia with the dark brown center. So I'm looking forward to the addition of these 3 new black-eyed Susan rudbeckias in the garden. I think those going into fall will be nice fall colors and will give me colors outside of my showy period, because my garden is at its peak May, June, and July. August, September, and October, we don't have as much color. So adding these will give me color in that part of the garden. And that's another thing to do is while you're adding, decide why you're adding and for what period you expect to get blooms of that particular thing. New to me this year are straw flowers. I've never grown straw flowers, but I have a friend, Jen's Juicy Veggies, she is on Instagram, and she talks about straw flowers and grows straw flowers every year. And so finally I was persuaded and influenced, and I'm going to be growing them this year. I'm going red, pink, and I'm growing a purple red, almost looks black. These are from M.I. Gardner, and I like their seeds as well. They have good germination rates, and their seeds are very affordable. Most seed packets are $2, and so you can't beat it. So straw flowers, we'll see how I do on that one. We're just got 2 left. The last 2, the first of the last is verbena. I want to add this. This is also another plant that's very, very common in a cottage garden. It's called Verbena bonariensis, and you'll see these little purple puffs floating along these long stems in the garden, and I think that would look really pretty. And they bloom all year long, so I love it until your last frost, but they bloom for a long time all summer. Yarrow. I'm adding more summer berries, yarrow, into the garden. I have a lot of yarrow. I have a peach, a red, yellow, white, purple, and like a pink. And the reason I have so many different is each of my garden has different things, and so I plant accordingly. So that's why you'll see me add so many different colors, because like the yellow will go in this particular bed and this will go in that particular bed, so forth. You know what I forgot? One of my favorite flowers, zinnias. Y'all, I have a slight obsession. I have 2 of these crammed full of zinnias. And guess what? I'm gonna grow as many of them as I can possibly fit, because they're some of the easiest plants to grow. You literally come, sprinkle the seed, put a little soil on top to keep the seeds from blowing away, water them in, full sun, a little fertilizer, good to go. And they bloom until frost. What's not to like? I have some cut and come again varieties. I also have, here, let me show you. The Cinderella series. These are the ones that have these beautiful shape. And then I have the peach, the salmon, there's a lavender color. I also have the Little Flower Girl mix from Florette, the Envy series, Queen Lime, El Dorado, and I can't tell you how many others, just tons of other zinnias. So you'll be seeing a lot of zinnias in my garden. Let me see. Here's another one. And then there's a Cut and Come Again series from Botanical Interest. And then the Fireball Blend. As you can see, I've got my work cut out for me, but I'm not intimidated. A lot of my seeds will be winter sown. Other seeds will be sown in my greenhouse, and then others will be direct sown. The Gomphrena, the Amaranth, the Love in a Mist, zinnias, quite a few will be direct sown, so it's not like I'm gonna be babysitting and taking in and taking out. That is not my ministry. I'm really trying to do some this year, but y'all, I'd much rather just throw them out and forget about them. And then, oh, look. But I know you can't do that with all seeds. Thank you so much for joining me today as we reviewed what I'll be adding to the garden. Stick around as I take you on tours. As the garden progresses through the seasons, you will see the things that we talked about today in full bloom. As always, if you've enjoyed my content, please consider subscribing. Happy gardening.